incident like Mr. Crawford's murder, that people, everybody has their own little incident or their own big incident, and so it makes for volatile times. And considering we are a community of multiple races, multiple ethnicities, multiple genders and whatnot, and we have to find ways and space to get common ground, to agree, to come together around the things that we agree on, and not focus so much all the time on the things that we don't agree on. So one of the, each of us last time had an assignment. I don't know what happened to the rest of my group, but they didn't show up. And I brought my little assignment. And mine was to find out about the Community Relations Service. It was my suggestion. I knew about the Community Relations Service, and other people in my group did not know. So I agreed to research and bring something back. I did. I brought a little one-page report, which basically outlined Community Relations Service is a Justice Department agency, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to use them since they come and serve us, and they're on payroll. They're under the AG, who's Eric Holder, and of course we don't have to pay for that. Yeah, I found out when Amaha got here that the Community Relations Service apparently was summoned by maybe somebody in Beaver Creek's leadership out there. And so they had a person that held a meeting. What they are seen to be grassroots people who are being left out. So we don't like that. And so my position is, and I hope that the group that I met with agrees.
Maybe they come back up to the top of the movement.
Right.
We want to pursue, we want, I don't know if it's going to be this group or another group, but we need to pursue getting him indicted for his role in those 2 deaths on that day. And so when we go to the city council, we also need to talk to, because I know that A.J. Wagner came to one of our meetings. We need to talk to find out how that's going to happen, because that, I think, is one of the major things that we should not forget about as we go after these other entities. We should not forget about Mr. Ritchie. And the second thing that we should not forget about is the role that the media played on that night. Because one of the very first things that I heard was that was the Beaver Creek Walmart that didn't want West Dayton out there via the bus. And so they tried to tie it to West Dayton and the bus service, and he was from Cincinnati and he drove out there.
Right.
So we need to not let them off the hook either. And so we might have to come up with 2 other groups to work on those 2 issues. But we can't let those two issues get away from us.
Real quickly.
Those are homicides, though. I thought there was no statute of limitation.
No, we're not talking about a homicide. He induced panic.
For
That's
Richie,
that's a misdemeanor. That's a misdemeanor. So the statute of limitation depends on the degree of the misdemeanor, gives you the amount of time that you have in order to press charges. So somebody has to get down there to do that. It would be interesting. I don't know how well y'all know the lady that died.
Angela Williams?
Yeah. I don't know how well you know her, but any one of her relatives would be the most likely person to make that happen.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Oh, yeah, that's a big. I'm sorry. I had a long day. We met with Mr. Crawford, and they did a forensic analysis. So first of all, there's more tapes than just that tape that released to the public. You know what I mean? And like they put the audio with the tape, and it's 0.3 seconds from when he said drop the gun to when they shot. You know what I mean? 0.3 seconds is like.
Time to respond.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who can do anything in 0.3 seconds? You know, and so. So I've been thinking about, pushing the whole release of tape again because like people are seeing things, but they're not really understanding what's taking place, and getting that tape with the audio and all that stuff. Yeah, release the audio. Yeah.
How you know how you get the tapes? You go to the media.
Yeah.
They can subpoena the tapes.
Right.
Okay.
The Sunshine Law.
No, it has to do with No, it has to do with, no, back in the 60s. God, I forgot the name of it. But it's something that happened, and they was able to get the federal government to make them release all this stuff. I can't remember the papers. Somebody papers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So. Pentagon papers. Yeah.
Oh, the thing with the.
So the media from that case forward can demand anything that deals with should be brought out to the public. So you can get those the videotapes. What we have to do is demand the media to go and subpoena them. They got to be held accountable too. They could have got that stuff a long time ago, but they didn't do it. So you have to ask yourself the question: why did the
Or would be, he's talking about going to the media to get the audio, like putting the pressure on them, not even really putting pressure, just demanding, the audio and the actual other videos. And then what Dr. Asanubi was saying, which would be, what was the first thing? Yeah, the charges for Ronald Ritchie and swatting. Now, would that go under swatting, that what he did, because calling him a false whatever and having the cops come in? Or
It's called inducing panic.
okay. Now, there is something they call swatting now, like where people,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's different.
it goes under a
Yeah,
different thing? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So,
But that's
and,
SWAT.
and the person,
Yeah, they're gonna get prosecuted, exactly.
who is in charge of, like, who's gonna charge that person?
That's city of Dayton. That's city.
The city?
Yeah,
That was Kettering?
the police make the charge.
I
Right.
thought it was
Because-
Kettering.
No, the police, whoever the police are, regardless of where they're at. If somebody, I'm gonna tell you something. If nothing would have happened that night, that boy had never been shot, those police, I guarantee you, would have arrested that guy, making it home.
I see.
I guarantee you,
Right.
because he made a false report.
Yeah.
So that means we have to put pressure on the police.
No.
I think it's a
police
prosecutor.
can't.
It's the
They
prosecutor.
prosecutor.
Yeah. Because
There's a law on the book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the reason, their justification for not prosecuting was that the BCI, basically the Bureau of Criminal Investigations, they said that they shouldn't have prosecuted, and so like that kind of just got pushed down the
No, it had nothing to do
line.
with
And
the
so,
BCI. It was a prosecutor.
well, as we heard, it was BCI.
I don't
Okay.
know, it was a prosecutor. It was
Right.
the special prosecutor came in. He has to review all this stuff.
Yeah.
He did not prosecute.
Yeah.
So now we have to go to the Greene County prosecutor to prosecute.
Well, see,
And that's an action we could do quick.
those are the types of things that could be had in relation service, because if the people see it differently than the people who are running the police agencies and the prosecutors and whatnot, then that's going to continue to have friction, because the situation is going to arise again.
Sure.
That's the whole point.
Sure.
So like, so why is it that the people who cried wolf on Ebola don't get prosecuted and locked up, and somebody that cried wolf out of Walmart and somebody died,
And
somebody died, then that's, you have to look at that,
That's real. Yeah.
So
That's real.
those are the types of things can be discussed in community meetings, and people need to understand that.
Right.
So it's the green.
You go to municipal court, you go down there and file with the prosecutor.
It's determined by where it happens.
And they'll take care of it. But you have to go to Greene County.
That's where it
Now, it happened in what?
August.
Beaver Creek?
Oh, yeah, Beaver Creek in
happens. It's in
August.
Greene County, yeah.
I can't remember, I don't know if they have their own court, but you have to go to the prosecutor of that particular court.
Yeah, I think it's just the Green County.
Well, no, there's
Well,
different
it
courts. There's
depends
different
on whether
courts.
the offense is a or it's a county court.
No, there's different,
County prosecutor
Yeah.
developing the whole issue.
no, there's different courts within Greene County.
Right.
Fairmount has its own court, you have to go to.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll take responsibility to do more research for that.
You gotta find out Beaver Creek got a court, you have to go to the city, it's the city prosecutor.
City prosecutor.
Yeah, and I'm quite sure Beaver Creek got a court.
Yeah, I'll take responsibility to kind of press on that. 'Cause I think that's something that we can press on quick. 'Cause everywhere I go, after people encourage me to keep going with this, the second thing is like, why are they prosecuting that 911 call? That's the next thing out of people's mouths, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's real. So
You
like,
can't get someplace and haul a fire and folks is dying and everything, you going to jail.
exactly. Yeah, so I think that's an easy thing, you know. Yeah, 'cause I think we need to have a long-term game and a short-term game, you know. So yeah. Well, cool. Well, it's getting late. I know I'm tired. So.
I have just a quick thing that I was asked to go over. There have been some people who haven't come to the meetings. They've been doing sort of pop-up direct actions, and there were some ideas that were talked about, and I'm just going to run down them real quick. I think they seem to connect most with Joe Vaughn's group. One of them is my own personal thing, putting in live streaming infrastructure, and I do have some contacts with someone in Cincinnati, and I might put up a GoFundMe just so we can get our own equipment. There's also discussing the importance of logistics so we can get through the winter, warmth, legality, things like bullhorns. There was a suggestion, if anyone's interested in putting together a flash mob at Fairfield Commons, also building and maintaining memorials to John Crawford and Angela Williams at the Walmart and the Beaver Creek Police Department. More suggestions on corner protests, which you guys touched on. Also, a suggestion of potentially projecting the video of the Walmart shooting onto the courthouse or the Beaver Creek Police Department, and then planning maybe something in solidarity with Ferguson when their indictment for Mike Brown comes down. And then, yeah, let me say the last thing and then I'll up to you. There was a suggestion to put together a research team. I had talked about that as a virtual action last time. I've started documents if anybody wants to join me. They're just keeping track of every single document that has been pulled, that has been FOIA'd, every single video out there. I'm working on it slowly, so if anybody wants to join me, I can hook you into those documents to do that research. And then you wanted to
Actually be down on the grounds of Ferguson, and I'll be speaking at one of the events they have over there. Reverend Dalton and Reverend McCory are actually, I'm going to be going with McCory, but they want me to speak on behalf of the youth and talk about basically for like where do we go from here. So I'm going to definitely be representing the John Crawford situation. I'm probably going to have a couple of t-shirts or whatever on. But I'm going to be making those connections to make sure, I'm just going to be making sure that those connections are maintained and create more connections with the Ferguson, St. Louis, and the Dayton thing. I mean, I know there already is some, but I'm going to make sure that I reaffirm exactly what we're doing. So before I go, I might, I'm definitely going to get in touch with you and Darshil just to make sure if there's any last minute things that I need to adjust for my message when I go down there. It's going to be it's going to be next Friday. So and I'll keep in touch with you.
And there's Ferguson in Ohio, and so yeah, so like we'll give you some people that are there.
Yeah,
that you can
that's what I need. Let me know something about this today.
Well, thanks everyone for coming. I guess I went around and I got names for people who are in each group, so I'll email each group so you all have each other's contact information. And then when I get the report backs from the three people, then I will send that out to the larger group. When does everyone feel like meeting next?
Next month. We got 1 month.
Next month.
December?
Cool. And we apologize for having this tonight and short notice, but we were trying to get this in before there's a couple of conversations happening, and we wanted to make sure we had pulse for what's going on here that we could take to those meetings. And tonight's the only night that I don't have school.
It's all your fault.
Right? That's my fault.
Oh, yeah, it works.